Alright, welcome back to Adolescence of a Bookworm, Anime Review, episode number 13. We're here reviewing episodes, 27, 28 for the series. Yep. So, it's shown here that there's several different things going on here. For instance, from the last season of the show, Mai is getting replacement ceremony ropes that they were damaged in the last season of the show. So they're in the process of getting fixed. Yes, and after also introducing new products, and then the Ink Guild start getting involved. The Ink Guild, the way it's described in the show, and the book too, is that, because it's ink, they have to be the one to control it. And the person who runs it is known for committing criminal activities. And it's based upon a rumor. So, they try and get information about ink from Lutz, which does not work at all, due to the fact he is just an apprentice. So basically, he has to stay at, because of all the stuff with the ink company, it's just by Benno that she hide out at the church, which she does. Trying to think, is anything else I brought up here? Oh yeah, and also, Mine's father brings her home toad nuts. Also, what happened prior to all of this stuff happening is that the blacksmith apprentice John, who appeared in the previous season of the show, is asking for a patron. Yes, a patron. He made his debut toward the end of the previous season of the show. So basically, Maya becomes her patron, along with Benedict becoming a co-signer, because basically he's kind of her guardian, not her father. And basically, in a way, she wants him to make a letterpress for all the letter stuff. Okay, seems pretty simple enough. So, while the server is frozen and fixed, Mine is brought upstairs because Benno wants to keep away from the leader of the Ink Guild, named Wolf, who is a very shady person. He's voiced by an actor by the name of Bob Carter. I'm not familiar with him, though he did make his first appearance in the first episode of this very season. Yeah. Basically, he wants Mine, but of course he wants to basically attack. He basically tries to attack Lutz. Oh, by the way, the first two episodes cover pretty much the first 6 chapters of basically the 6th book of the series, skipping the prologue. Yes. Yeah, the prologue is not adapted for this episode. Yeah, I'm not really sure why it's skipped, but it is. So, Mine, of course, agrees to stay at the cathedral in order to make sure the Ink Guild doesn't go after her. So, but after being there for one day, she started getting homesick. Look up Let's Spot Spy, gives him a big hug, but she can't leave her quarters, despite the fact she's shown going outside, but she can't exactly leave the chapel itself. Basically, her quarters is the orphanage's director of orphanage's office, the 2-story thing. But you see him kind of go outside. Rosalie does not play a really big role in these episodes. She just teaches Mine in one scene. Another scene, she's practicing her magic. Or basically practicing her music. Though we don't see her much these 2 episodes, and that's not the anime's fault. I kind of blame the light novel for that. So then, of course, Turi basically pays a visit. Mine's father made a visit when he brought her there. Hasn't seen since then. Dahlia is on the form exactly the reason why she's staying here. Mainly because basically she's a spy for the high priest, aka the high bishop. Yeah, it's kind of confusing exactly why in the world they can't refer to him as a bishop, because that's technically his position. I mean, I get basically referred to as the head priest, but high priest, I don't get exactly why they call him priest for this, but I think their guy is technically a bishop because that's what he's called in the light novels. I'm not sure why they couldn't call him that here. Maybe it was for I think it's maybe a translation issue. Maybe that could be the reason for it. So she, of course, stays there. Yes, and then toward the end of episode 2 of the season. So yeah. So basically, after Turi leaves, and then of course Benno arrives, who's here along with, well, Kurstak, who the previous show, with Damel, and basically put like a little barrier around them so you don't have eavesdrop. Basically, that's what I mentioned about Wolf. So the whole thing with the Ink Guild and the fact that form a contract with some people. It's more of like having Ferdinand catch up with Benno knows. And then right after this, basically, well, Mine has so much mana in her small body that nobles want her and basically her ideas. So, by the way, what was the punishment of basically the 3 knights? Well, German became demoted to apprentice and appointed as Mine's bodyguard for 1 year. The captain was briefly demoted, and the guy who actually sliced Mine's hand, he has been declared killed in honorable action. Basically, he was executed off panel, and in the book, basically, this is a cover. And also there was a discussion of not executing the family too, because apparently the rule here is to execute the whole family if one person basically commits a crime, which I am kind of glad they expunged that from the anime, because basically people hear that like, really? Yeah, that sounds like something the Klingons would do from Star Trek. Yes, they would do this. If one person commits like a crime like treason, whatever, the whole house suffers. And one of the books, basically, I remember this, where the guy who was allegedly the adopted son of the general who appeared in Star Trek 3, he had basically committed treason, and basically they did the process of basically dishonoring him, but his sons basically were immune to this because it was just him committing crimes. They had no idea what the heck was going on. Similar case here, and that's probably the reason why I cut it, because anybody who has seen Star Trek probably would understand that little concept of one person does a crime, whole family suffers. Then it's brought up in this episode that Mine needs to be adopted, presumably by Kirsten. She gets upset by this. She refuses, and then the episode she had basically back at toward the end of the first season of the show, which of course basically almost leads to the crushing. Basically her mind going crazy, and then Ferdinand knows what's going on here, takes out a jewel, puts on her forehead, and basically spells Mon, eventually does it again. And so managed to calm her down. Basically what's bothering her is the memory chip they did toward the end of they did in the final episode of the previous season of the show. And here basically that's what's affecting her, and basically, well, we're going to get a decision probably in the next episode. So basically she's waiting at the age of 10 and to go to the Royal Academy. If not, basically they'll determine if she needs to be executed or not. But also what's basically is opening up a papyrus workshop. It's okay. So Crunchyroll translated as papyrus workshop. It was actually paper plate workshop. Yes. Excuse me. This. Yeah, in the anime, basically, this was actually, I just read here, this actually is an error on the part of Crunchyroll. This was a translation error. Yep, so if anyone watched that, it's like, hey, wait, why do you always say papyrus even if it's making plant paper? Translation issue. Otherwise, though, really good 2 episodes, and like I said, 8 more to go, and then pretty much we're done. I will probably continue this tomorrow. So, that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications. I'm going to quickly do one more video, and I'll call it in. Okay, next video. Bye.